This is News 12 Law Call.
Hi there and welcome to News 12 Law Call. I'm your host, Neil Gordon. Thanks so much for staying up and enjoying a Zoom edition of Law Call, a special program. One of the first times we've really delved into the drug situation in the CSRA. Our topic is drug court. We have the founder of the Hawk Law Group, Vic Hawk, alongside attorney Tanya Jeffords. And how are both of you this evening?
We're doing great.
Wonderful.
How are you, Neil?
Excellent. And
doing good.
Super, Tanya. And we're really pleased to have you. I know Vic wants to introduce you, but we should tell everyone you helped start this program over a decade ago. So this is something I think our viewers should really pay attention to. But Vic, go right ahead.
Yeah, we're lucky to have Tanya Jeffords on with us tonight. Tanya is a lawyer I've known for a long time. I knew her before she went off to law school, and she's always been special. My wife always loved to see what she was wearing to work each day so that she could go out and buy some similar outfits. So Tanya's not only intelligent, she's a beautiful lady and dresses really nice. More importantly, she's become a great lawyer. She's another one of the employees who worked with Jacques or I, who worked in the legal field for a while and then went off to law school and came back. And she has her own practice now. And we're going to talk tonight about drug court. And drug court is a special court that was created a number of years ago, about 11 years ago. And Tanya Jeffords was one of the leaders who helped create the drug court in the Augusta Judicial Circuit. Now, Tanya is the lawyer who will act as the defense lawyer in drug court on behalf of those persons who come into the court. And she's really the expert that's going to answer the vast majority of the questions that are going to come up tonight. And Tanya, I'm overjoyed to have you again. It's always nice to get to spend some time with you. We bounce ideas off of each other whenever possible. And she's really a good one to get some ideas from.
I always enjoy picking your brain, Vic. Thank you.
Well, Tanya, Patrick, one of our viewers, would like to pick your brain, and it's really a great way to start this program foundationally. How does the drug court work, and who might be eligible to go in front of the drug court?
Well, the drug court is basically the criminal justice reform of the 21st century, and it's where everybody's headed, federal and state. And it's an accountability court. So you have to, number one, to get into the Augusta Judicial Drug Court, you have to be charged with a felony. And the DA's office is the gatekeeper. So your lawyer would have to make an application to the district attorney's office for admission. And they would say, well, you're legally eligible. And there's two different types of eligibility. So, you know, you can look at a case file after being a criminal defense attorney, or look at your client and you can know, are drugs at the root of the issue of crime? And most of the time it is. If you see a lot of thefts in the history, you may not have a drug crime, but there's a lot of thefts. At the root of theft, most of the time, is a drug problem. If you see a lot of simple possessions or drug charges, or even possession with intent to distribute, people will have a drug problem. And so that's what the court was designed to do, is to hold them accountable for 2 years. It's a minimum 2-year program. You have to have 1 year clean to graduate. It is one of the most stringent in the country. But at the end of the day, your charges get dismissed. And I always say, well, it's the only place where you can do the crime, get the charges dismissed, so that you can go on and have a productive life. Because the reality is, we all know that having a criminal record is what keeps you from a lot of housing, employment, and things like that. So drug court is it's like probation on steroids. So your lawyer needs to recommend you to the DA's office. The DA's office will say yes or no with regard to legal eligibility. Then you're seen by treatment and a case manager for the whole drug court. They'll go out and visit you in the jail, or you come in and visit them. And then there's a team meeting where it's kind of a collaborative effort. Everybody sits around the table and discusses the case and what the needs are of the person. And then the judge, says, okay, the person's coming in or not coming in. And when they come in, they are sentenced, but we're a plea court. And that's very important to know the difference, because you've got drug court, you have mental health court, and you have veterans court, and those are different. So with a pre-plea, you come in, you plead guilty to the charges, and you're going to agree to a sentence if you fail out of the program. However, if you complete the program, you will have your charges dismissed.
Vic, have you defended any folks who've come to you with, I guess, serious felony drug charges and had the opportunity to get the drug court involved?
Yes, I have, but it was some time ago. I switched over to civil side several years back, and so I haven't been intimately involved with the drug court other than seeing the results of the drug court. And so tonight's going to be a fun opportunity for me to better understand how the drug court works, and most importantly, and what the public doesn't know, and why we're doing this, is to show you that an alternative to incarceration is out there, an alternative to branding these young people with felony offenses is an opportunity to give them a second chance, to help them to stay clean, and to help them get the training and education necessary for them to be productive citizens. But I want Tanya to tell us how they really do that.
Absolutely. Sammy wants to know, Tanya, if he were to go into this drug court program, how does it work? How long would he be involved in it? How often does he have to dedicate his time? And then finally, the graduation, if you will, when would it be over?
Okay. Well, and this program was started by Judge Blanchard and the former District Attorney Ashley Wright. And so I just wanted to put that out there, that they've done a good job in beginning it and supporting it. But when he gets into the program, it's basically about accountability, and that's what you're doing. You have to drug test at least 2 or 3 days a week, which is good for employers, because if you hire somebody from drug court, which 75% of our people are working, then you have somebody who's being drug tested 2 or 3 times a week. They have to go to treatment 2 or 3 times a week. And we've adjusted with COVID. We continued with the program right through COVID because people needed the treatment. They're doing that through Zoom from their home, their group meetings. And then the major part of the drug courts and why they work is called the 3 minutes with the judge. So each week on a Thursday, they would come to court and meet with the judge. And he basically goes over their progress. He'll talk to them about the good things in their life, the bad things in their life, and he will sanction anybody who possibly gets a positive drug test. And I think that is where accountability courts really have one up on rehab centers or anybody, because if you come in positive today on heroin or meth, okay, or marijuana, and you know that you don't want to do this anymore, sometimes the body takes over and says, but you're going to do this and you're going to continue to do it. That's called addiction. So if the judge says, well, you're going to be sanctioned for 24 hours or 48 hours or 3 days, that's 3 days that you get to regroup your body, get it out of your system, and come back. So is it difficult? Yes. But I tell my clients, as long as you keep showing up, you will not be able to do that which you said you no longer wanted to do. And they work with you on the sanctions and just trying to get you to modify your behavior. And so you have to have a year clean. It's basically, there are going to be people who relapse. It just happens. It's part of recovery. We have probably had 4 superstars, we call them, who went in with absolutely not one positive in a 2-year period. And those people did a rehab before they came in, where they were in residential normally and then came in and were really, really on track. So that's the 3 accountability pieces. And then there's also officers. So the resources that you use, you have to figure you have 125 or so people who normally maybe would be in jail because they're charged with felonies. They're out now. So rather than costing taxpayers money, they're actually saving taxpayers money. But officers do go to their house and check. And I think that is a major difference with the success rate here. We have great officers, and they get to know the participants and what's going on in their lives, because what you see in the courtroom is generally the end result of the environment that the person's in. And so in drug court, the officers go to their house, they do curfew checks, they do breathalyzers and different things like that, and they come back and report to the work. So that's just really about holding the person accountable for the crime that they did, but by addressing the issue that was underlying the reason why they did it.
And we should say there are some treatment options available, and we'll talk about Max's question after we take our first break. We'll be back in a few minutes with attorneys Tanya Jeffords and Vic Hawk. Our topic tonight, drug court.
Welcome back to News 12 Law Call with award-winning broadcaster Neil Gordon. And from the Hawk Law Group, attorney Vic Hawk, with more than 30 years experience and millions of dollars awarded to his clients. Attorney Reed Sanders, born and raised in Thompson and known for his strong courtroom skills. With criminal law, former police officer, now lawyer Sean Merzlach, and with South Carolina injury law, trial attorney Chase Hawk. Plus guest attorneys from across the CSRA. Your rights, your calls, live. News 12 Law Call.
Hello again, and welcome back to our topic, drug court. I'm Neil Gordon. Thanks for sticking with us on this Zoom edition. We're pleased to be rejoined by attorney Tanya Jeffords, who helped begin the drug court some 11 years ago, and the founder of the Hawk Law Group, Vic Hawk. And when we left off, we had mentioned, you had mentioned, Tanya, of course, there can be some serious heroin and cocaine addiction. So Max wanted to know, with a serious situation like that, are there some treatment options available along with the accountability?
Well, that is what accountability courts provide. They provide treatment. So they have to go to treatment 2 to 3 times a week. And they are spaced out in different times so that people can work. There's an early morning class, and then there's an afternoon class. So they attend group treatment, and they have individual case plans. Right now we use Family Counseling Center. And if they need a higher level of care, some people go to other private counselors as well. So that is what it is. It's treatment based. So, and in the way that the court holds them accountable is through the sanction and reward process. So the court will try to reward good behavior by, let's just say you're doing well, you get a weekend pass to go with your family. You are doing well, he will give out certificates to food places or things to do with your kids or to the movies. On the other hand, if you fail a drug screen, which is number one, or fail treatment, don't go to treatment, because it's number one. If you're not in treatment, you're not working the program. Judge Blanchard is very big on you going to treatment. So a sanction would be imposed of, jail time, jury duty. Sometimes you may have to write an essay. Our very young people really do not like essays. So, you could forego 24 hours in jail, but one of our kids who's like 18, 19, or 20, they're like, an essay? So there's a sanction matrix that goes along with the whole program that the court goes by as a guide. So the first positive may be 24 hours. If you admit, of course, accountability that you did it, then the sanction would be less. If you don't admit and you get caught and you have a positive drug screen for whatever drug, and then you have the right also to contest it. And so there'll be a due process situation there. You pay to have it confirmed. Sometimes the test may not come back confirmed. And if it does come back confirmed and you contested it, though, the judge would give you a sanction of probably double the jail time. So that's how accountability courts generally work. It's about addressing the negative behavior immediately and then giving you back right out so that you can try again.
So to clarify, these are all sort of outpatient treatment type classes, but there isn't anything like a 30-day inpatient in the midst of this drug court, right?
That's only if you determine after, let's just say 6 to 8 months, somebody continues to have positive drug tests, then they might come back before the team and the judge will decide to give them a higher level of care. And that's the key thing, is we have case managers who work, and the counseling works to find them an in-house rehab. So they may go in to, say, Hope House we've used, 143 Ministry we've used, the Eagle's Nest. We have a lot of them that we've used over the years. So they'll go in there for 6 months, change their environment, come back and they get credit for that time towards the program. So it's all counting towards their 2 years and their 1 year clean. And then sometimes if it's really, really a difficult situation, the judge will send them to RSAT, which is residential substance abuse treatment. That's within the prison system, but then they come back out into drug court as their aftercare.
Now, Tanya, when someone has received a sanction, but they have a good job, how does drug court handle that?
That's an interesting question. Like, for instance, that happened today. A young man had a positive marijuana screen, and he started a new job on Sunday, the 12th. I think it was Sunday or Monday. But his sanction called for a longer time period than that. But, you know, as his defense attorney, I was able to go up and argue with him to the team and to the judge that, you know, we want him to have positive things going on. And his old job was one of the reasons why he was having a problem. So the judge today actually shortened his sentence that would allow him to get out in time to go to that job. So is that always the case? No, but they try to work with the person to maintain the good things that they have going on in their lives. But as some of them say, well, the consequence sometimes to drug use is losing a job. But I think the court really does well to try and work with them on that.
Good.
And Tanya, share with our viewers, there's another program for folks, I guess, who are charged with misdemeanors. Is that correct?
Yes. And what we're trying to do in Augusta is I think that we should be the leader in the country and in the state for accountability courts. Judge Watkins is over the misdemeanor court. So those are people charged with DUIs, possessions of marijuana. And they're actually, I think, beginning to start one for simple battery, you know, where you have a lot of family violence cases, but they're misdemeanors. And I'm hoping in the future we will actually have a juvenile accountability court. And Judge Craig also has a family court that he does too. So I'm hoping that we will all come together and just start approaching criminal justice from, you know, the 21st century and not just locking everybody out, but trying to get to the root of the problem.
Well, speaking of which, is there enough data out there now to determine whether this program is doing better for recidivism versus someone that has been incarcerated and then let out after so many years?
Yes, the recidivism rate for those who just go to prison and come out is much higher than those who complete drug court. And what they do is they actually sign a paper that allows the district attorney's office to track them for 5 years after they get out. So they want to see, have you committed a new felony within the next 3 years? And so it's generally, the last time that I got those statistics, I think we were between 50 to 70% did not commit new felonies.
Wow.
And so you have a very high recidivism rate the other way, that within a year, people are mainly back in jail. And not to say that it doesn't happen, but it does.
After the short break, we'll give you Tanya's telephone number in case a loved one is dealing with some charges and you might like to look into the drug court. We'll also talk about your records. Can they be expunged? This is the special drug court edition of News 12 Law Call. We'll be back in just 2 minutes. Well, to learn more about drug court and how Tanya may be able to represent a loved one, you can give her a call in the morning at 706-722-3019 or online at jeffordslaw.com. The Hawk Law Group, headquartered on Telfair Street with 3 other locations, call to make an appointment by dialing all 4s with a 706 area code, hawklawgroup.com. Tanya, Josh had a question about graduating from drug court. I guess what that experience is like, and then after graduation, can his record get expunged?
Well, in the drug court, like I said, it's the few places where you can actually do the crime, but get your charges dismissed. So our graduation is a very wonderful thing. I would invite some of you, it might be on YouTube this last time, for the first time, to go and see one. It is a big deal right now. Our new coordinator has them dressed up in caps and gowns, because you have to realize that in the thousands of people that I've interviewed, some of these people haven't been off drugs since they were in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade. So it was a big deal to graduate a program, to maintain a job, to have their family relationships restored. So when we go to graduation, they come up to graduation, they get a handshake and a picture of the judge. They actually talk about their experiences. The family gets up and talks about their experience. And you see that success is not just defined by graduating from the program. It's about all of those little things that are achieved to get to that point. And then success is defined, what are you able to maintain after you get out of drug court? And so the judge will give them, signed by the prosecutor, the DA's office is always there. They will go and they will give them a null pros the day that they graduate, and it's signed and it's dismissed, and they are eligible to have that taken off of their record. And it's a beautiful thing when we have teachers, doctors, lawyers who've been through drug court.
And the time we have remaining for both of you, there may be people watching who haven't been caught yet. They don't have pending charges, but they are addicted to drugs. Any advice in the last minute by either of you?
I would say reach out to somebody that needs help. You don't want to get a felony so that you can get into drug court. However, you do want to get into some sort of a rehab somewhere so that you can just have some clean time to get your brain to be able to start working and let your body catch up and getting itself clean of the drug. Because addiction is real. You can have the best of intentions to not want to use again, but the reality is there's a physical component to using, and you have to watch your people, places, and things. So I would suggest, if you do not have a felony, that you reach out to somebody and go into one of those 30 to 90 days, maybe 6 months to a year programs, and just see where the life takes you. But if you do have a felony, I would just caution to lawyers, when you see someone who has a drug addiction, maybe they're not even willing to stop, don't evaluate them by whether you think they could be successful. Get them into drug court and let them work the program, and let that be their goal.
Thank you, Tanya and Vic. We've got to scoot. God bless.
God bless.